This is for all you multi-talented, multitasking, multi-everything people out there. Take it away.
Find your glory, write your story, fearless feet will carry you. Time you own it, take your moment, be a fire burning through. Hustling from night until morning, grinding it out, it won't be long. Feel your power, it's your hour, you inspire, you are strong.
Enjoy your Zoa. No applause? You're all fired.
Hey, good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Money. Are you ready? They are ready. Covering the biggest events in the country right now.
There's a lot going on here.
It's always a good time. That's what the show's about.
That's good.
Really good. Very good.
Coming in hot, Jimmy, coming in hot.
It's far from elementary.
Good morning, America.
I'm not going to try to strut like Michael or anything.
I have known George a long, long time.
Have you ever gotten him to dance?
Look at that face.
You don't just see it, you feel it.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
I'll be there.
I am here and so happy.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
I'm in.
That tells you something when Snoop Dogg's in. Michael, George, Lara, Ginger.
Prepare for a journey beyond imagination, beyond belief, beyond anything you've experienced before. Universal Epic Universe, a new theme park where you'll step through extraordinary portals to 5 immersive worlds. Prepare for a cosmic voyage of discovery, an isle of fire-breathing excitement, a shadowy world of monsters and mystery, new wonders in the wizarding world, and a new way to play. Plus the splendor of a magnificent resort hotel overlooking the park. It's all new excitement at Universal Orlando Resort. A week's worth of vacation thrills with 4 amazing theme parks, a variety of spectacular themed hotels, and incredible dining and entertainment. It's all at Universal Orlando Resort, where you'll find new adventures every day. Explore the astonishing worlds of Universal Epic Universe at Universal Orlando Resort.
Four shows in one day. Do you hear me? That's how we do. That's how we roll. That's how we get down. Y'all, all we had was one damn job to do on November 4th. But here we are. Because we have bumbling, stumbling, schmumbling idiots wanted to see what would happen. Well, are you happy? Are you satisfied? On a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling? With that being said, higher is waiting, low is available, but either way, we are live on tour. Let me take down this iconic intro here. You see that virtual tour background? Yes, you do. You hear that virtual tour music? Yes, you do. And then there is me. Hey, everybody. Welcome in. Glad to have all you here. Once again, 4 shows in one day. 4 shows in one day. 4 shows in one day. Okay? All right. So, with that being said, we got some things to talk about. Yes, we do. So, here it is here. This is from CNN Politics K-File. Exclusive, newly discovered photos and video shed fresh light on 47's ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Okay. So let's play that. All we had was one job to do on November 4th. I like that light, so that's cool.
Andrew Kaczynski of K-File is here with the new images of Trump and Epstein. And Andrew, I shared one of them there, but so let's start with the one at Trump's wedding. I mean, this is a significant development.
Well, yeah, it is. Trump's wedding to Marla Maples in 1993 was dubbed the wedding of the century by the media at the time. And although we know that Trump and Epstein were friends during this period, this is really the first time that it's actually been reported that Trump invited Epstein to his wedding. This is, we should note, more than a decade before those first allegations of sex trafficking against Epstein. But as you know, Trump's relationship with Epstein has been under the microscope recently. Now, besides that one photo of Epstein entering the reception at the Plaza Hotel, we can also see him in the background of another picture. That's Howard Stern on the far right, along with Robin Leach from Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, and Epstein is behind them at the wedding, almost seeming to be photobombing them. We also found this photo from just a few months earlier, Donald Trump with two of his children talking to Jeffrey Epstein. That's at the opening of the Harley-Davidson Cafe in New York in October 1993. You can see Ivana there. She would have been just about to turn 12 years old in that photo.
Yeah, you can see Ivanka right there it looks like between Trump and Epstein. All right, these are never before seen photos, Andrew. I know you also found some video of Trump and Epstein that was from later of them talking that has also never surfaced before. What's that?
Well, that's right. This is from 6 years later in 1999. This video has never been seen before in this context. It shows Trump talking to Jeffrey Epstein just before models hit the runway at the Victoria's Secret fashion show in New York in 1999. You know, the only other video we've seen of the two men was 7 years before this. Trump is at the show with Melania, who is, of course, now First Lady, seated a few feet away from Epstein. You can see them chatting during the show as well. Allegations that Epstein sexually abused underage girls didn't surface until 2005, years after this video was shot.
Right, but this, of course, establishes them together and obviously very friendly in 1999. So, Andrew, when you get all this, and all of this, as I just want to emphasize, right, has not been seen before. So you actually called President Trump. You called him directly to ask him about this.
Yeah, we were not on the phone very long. I think our call was about 30 seconds or so. But when I asked him about the wedding photo, he said, he sort of paused for a second and then said, "You've got to be kidding me," before calling CNN fake news and then hanging up on me. Now, in a statement to CNN, White House Communications Director Stephen Chung said this. He said, "These are nothing more than out of context frame grabs of innocuous videos and pictures of widely attended events to disgustingly infer something nefarious. The fact is that the president kicked him out of his club for being a, quote, creep."
All right, well, it is incredible reporting, and
this is nothing more than a continuation of the fake news stories concocted by the Democrats and the liberal media, just like the Russiagate scandal, which President 47 was right about.
It is important in this context as the country wants, answers on everything to do with Epstein. Andrew, thank you so much for all of that.
Thank you, Andrew, for that. And then here's this video right here.
Sources tell CNN that U.S. Attorney General Bondi told President Trump that his name was in the Epstein files. Let's bring in CNN's Jeff Zeleny at the White House. Jeff?
Jake, we are learning this evening that the president was briefed, as you said, by his Attorney General Pam Bondi back in May that his name was mentioned in the Epstein files. That is what we do know. What we do not know is the context in which his name appeared. Of course, it has long been established that the president was a longtime friend of Jeffrey Epstein back in the 1990s in New York. They were featured at many parties together. Jeffrey Epstein attended one of Donald Trump's weddings, at least, and on from there. But what this does is return the questions, the unanswered questions, back to the White House. The White House, of course, is.
Now I want to pause this here because for the longest time, He has said we were never friends, this, that, and the third. Sir, I am not a cook. Richard Nixon, motherfucker. Richard Nixon. Richard motherfucking Nixon. Okay? All right. Let's roll on.
Has been working overtime trying to change the subject with the deflection, with the distraction. But what this shows is that Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, told the president that, look, your name is mentioned in here. Of course, several other names, many other names are mentioned in these volumes of files, but it does not answer the questions that just still remain about this entire matter. Now, White House officials are telling us, look, this is not surprising. The president knew his name would be in there, but they are saying that he did nothing wrong. Of course, the president severed his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein over a real estate fight in Florida in the mid 2000s here. But what this does, again, return the conversation back to the president's name being in the files. Of course, the files have not been released. There's been an uproar over that. And many people are wondering if it is because of the Trump mentions in here. Again, we don't know the context of how many times his name appears, but we do know the president was briefed on this by his attorney general.
Yeah, we should reiterate, this doesn't mean he did anything wrong. There's a lot of hearsay in investigative documents by definition, but it's sure interesting.
It is. It absolutely is. So I want to bring this up here because, like I said, there was a man named Richard Nixon, and Barbara Walters asked a very important question because Nixon had to step down after the Watergate scandal. So let's watch that. Okay, here we go.
People who worked for you, people who were close to you in one way or another, they say that you are cold, remote, and that they were unable to reach you.
Why don't we get serious?
Well, because I think people are still, I am serious. People are interested in you. People are still trying to understand you. I'm sorry you find that you find these questions unserious. We have a different idea perhaps of what serious is, but let me go on.
No, I'm not objecting to the questions, you know.
Were there times when you thought you might go under emotionally?
Emotionally, never. It's just part of my makeup.
In just a few seconds we have left now, and there's almost just time for a yes or no. Are you sorry you didn't burn the tapes?
The answer is I probably should have, but mainly I shouldn't have even installed them because Johnson's system was there. I had it taken out, and I shouldn't have ever put them in the
But
first
if you
place.
had it to do all over again, you'd burn them.
Yes, I think so, because they were private conversations subject to misinterpretation, as we have all seen.
I think Rick Denson said it best. I just watched this. I mean, really did. 47 Nixon switch bias is a stark reminder, folks. Janine Taylor said, so much of this program is parallel to today's current events. It was riveting ever since the war. The key players at the time must be experiencing a deja vu times 10 and many more comments. From there, let's get back to our article from CNN. Newly uncovered archive video footage and photos revealed fresh details about 47's past relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Photos from 1993 confirmed for the first time that Epstein attended 47's 1993 wedding to Marla Maples. Epstein's attendance at the ceremony at the Plaza Hotel was not widely known until now. In addition, footage from a 1999 Victoria's Secret fashion event in New York shows 47 and Epstein laughing at Chang ahead of the runway event. CNN's K-File uncovered the raw footage during a review of archival video of 47 at events in the 1990s and 2000s. 47 and Epstein appeared together in at least one video among the limited archival footage reviewed. I wonder how Billy Bush is feeling right now. Access Hollywood, you got some tapes you want to release? The new footage and videos, which have not been widely reported and predate any of Epstein's known legal issues, come amid scrutiny of 47's past relationship with Epstein. The Justice Department's recent decision not to release long-promised files related to Epstein has spurred some outrage outrage in some corners of 47's MAGA movement, where people developed an expectation for bombshell revelations into Epstein's alleged co-conspirators. In a brief call with CNN on Tuesday, President 47 asked about the UFOs and responded, "You gotta be kidding me," before repeatedly calling CNN fake news and hanging up. Charming. Just charming. Just fucking charming. In a statement to CNN, White House Communications Director Steve Chung said these are nothing more than out-context frame grabs of innocuous videos and pictures of widely attended events to disgustingly infer something nefarious. The fact is the president kicked him out of his club for being a creep. This is nothing more than a continuation of the fake news stories concocted by the Democrats and liberal media. You do realize that Fox News is a part of legacy media. Just wanted to say that, you know. I know you put liberal media, but, you know, who's to say Newsmax or America One News would not cover this, right? But, of course, birds of a feather flock together, right? Allegations that Epstein actually abused underage girls first surfaced in 2005, leading to his arrest a year later. He was arrested again in 2018 on federal ex-African charges and later died in jail, fueling numerous conspiracy theories. Medical examiner ruled his death by suicide by hanging. Past relationship, 47's relationship with Epstein dates back to the 1980s and included regular appearances at social events in Palm Beach and New York. Palm Beach, Florida, by the way, everybody. No law enforcement authorities have ever accused 47 of wrongdoing in relation to Epstein. The two have fallen out in the mid-2000s, according to the Washington Post, stemming from a dispute over a high-profile real estate deal in Palm Beach. Before then, photos and video repeatedly showed the two were friendly. In 2019, NBC posted footage of a party showing 47 socializing with Epstein in 1992. NBC, you want to release some of The Apprentice uncut footage? Why don't you? I mean, since footage is being released, and, you know, presidents in these files, and the Cade file, and CNN released these, why not? Moving on. A year later, in October 1993, high society photographer David Jones took photos at the opening of the Harley-Davidson Cafe in New York, capturing 47 and Epstein together. There was this guy who struck me the way he was looking. He gave me his card. It said Jeffrey Epstein, financial advisor. Jones recalled it in an interview with CNN this week. Jones captured photos of 47 with his arm around his two young children as he stands next to Epstein, leaning on a railing. 2 months later, in December 1993, Jones was assigned by a media organization to photograph 47's wedding. Among the photos he took was one of Epstein entering the event. "I must have recognized him going into the event," Jones said CNN, adding he only took select photos of attendees that he thought looked interesting. "I wish I took the image you have from content sheet. The negatives were lost." Another photo captures Epstein at 47's wedding, part of Life's archive. So for those of you who don't know what Life is, Life was one of the biggest magazines in the world at the time. Okay, so just want to bring that into the timeline. Part of Life's archive that was reviewed by CNN. It shows Epstein smiling in the background, his head just visible between other guests, and shock jock Howard Stern and Robert Leach, other lifestyles of the rich and famous, who were taking a group picture. Life's collection, dozens of photos of 47's wedding are available online through Google Images and Shutterstock. And CNN review of photos found multiple photos with Epstein. So Allison Stern, Robin Leach, Jeffrey Epstein, Cicely Lloyd, and Howard Stern right here. So those are the people here. So Robert Leach right here. I thought this was Robert Leach, but right here, Robert Leach, my bad. On that, together at a fashion show, the 1999 fashion show wasn't the first Victoria's Secret event the pair attended together. 2 photos from Getty Images show 47 and Epstein appearing at a 1997 Angels party in New York 2 years before the footage uncovered by CNN. Epstein's presence at the 1999 fashion show also reflects his long-standing ties to Leslie Wexner, the billionaire founder of Victoria's Secret's parent company. Epstein managed Wexner's finances from 1987 to around 2007. The two later severed ties, and Wexler has said he was unaware of Epstein's alleged crimes during their association. There's a documentary series on Hulu about Victoria's Secret. Y'all need to watch it. Victoria had a secret, and it had a lot of messy-ish. Okay, just let you guys know about that. In 2002, 47 was quoted in a New York magazine profile of Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, international money man mystery, describing him as a terrific guy, saying he's known Epstein for 15 years. This even said that he liked to be with women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. 47 said 47 flew on Epstein's jets between Palm Beach and New York at least 7 times, according to flight logs. In his 2004 book, 47 How to Get Rich, 47 wrote about taking a call from a man he named the Mysterious Jeffrey. As mysterious as Jeffrey is, he's one of the few people I know who can get by on just a first name. My staff never asked for a last name in his case, which in a way puts him up there with Elvis. Not that Elvis costs him much these days, but you never know. Sir, let me see something. Because really though, when did Elvis Presley die?
Elvis Presley died on August 16th, 1977.
August 16th, 1997. Your book came out in 2004. Sir. It's unclear if the mysterious Jeffrey Epstein and the White House did not address it in a comment to CNN. Images published in the Palm Beach Post in 2000 also show 47 Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell, who is currently serving a 20-year sentence for ex-Alpha King and Prince Andrew in attendance at a charity fundraiser at Mar-a-Lago. Last week, the Wall Street Journal reported on a birthday message sent bearing 47's name for Epstein's 50th birthday in 2003. According to the journal, it contained an outline of a naked woman and a typed note that ended with the line, "Happy birthday, it may every day be another wonderful secret." Following the report, the 47 administration pledged to release grand jury materials related to Epstein. The federal judge overseeing Maxwell's case set a deadline for the Justice Department to provide information so he can determine whether to unseal the transcripts. The Department of Justice also said Tuesday it has reached out to Maxwell for a meeting amid backlash on the administration's handling of files related to Epstein. Maxwell's attorney told CNN they are in discussion with the government on the matter. Ghislaine will always testify truthfully. We are grateful to President 47 for his commitment to uncover the truth in this case, attorney David Oscar Marcus said. 47 has denied authoring the note and calling the report false. On Friday, he sued the paper for libel in federal court in Florida. But the problem is you don't live in Florida, and the Wall Street Journal is in New York. You're the president, so yeah. So there's that from CNN, and then of course here from Reuters, right here. 47 was told he was in the Epstein file, Wall Street Journal reports. Wall Street Journal reports 47's name one of many appearing in Epstein materials. The White House calls report fake news. Judge rejects request to release materials related to Florida Epstein investigation. 47 administration sought release of transcripts on probe. 47's political base has demanded more information on the Epstein case. This came out today from Reuters. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi told President 47 in May that his name appeared in the investigative files related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The Wall Street Journal reported on Wednesday. So he was told in May. So May, June, July. So he's been knowing for 3 months. Moving on. The disclosure about 47's appearance in the Justice Department's case records threatened to deepen a political crisis that has engulfed his administration for weeks. Some 47 supporters for years have fanned conspiracies about Epstein's clients and circumstances of his 2019 death in prison. The White House sent signals following the story. It initially released a statement characterizing it as fake news, but White House official later told Reuters the administration was not denying that 47's name appears in some of the files, noting that 47 was already included in a trance of materials Bondi assembled in February for conservative influencers. So government materials were assembled in February for conservative influencers. Oh, Lord, I guess anybody can get access to the government, huh? As long as you're on his side, I guess. 47, who was friendly with Epstein in the 1990s and early 2000s, appeared multiple times on flight logs for Epstein's private plane in the 1990s. 47 and several members of his family also appeared in Epstein's contact book alongside hundreds of others. Much of that material had been publicly released in the criminal case against Epstein's former associate Ghislaine Maxwell, who was sentenced to 20 years in prison after her conviction for child trafficking and other crimes. During her trial, Epstein, longtime pilot, testified that 47 flew on Epstein's private plane multiple times. 47 has denied being on the plane. Now, sir, if they could find video and photos of you and Epstein, you don't think that somebody didn't take pictures on that plane? There's not videos of you being on that plane, sir. I suggest you shut up. Okay. All right, moving on. Reuters was not able to immediately verify the journal's report. 47 has faced intense backlash from his own supporters after his administration said it would not release the files, reversing a campaign promise. The Justice Department said in a memo earlier this month that there was no basis to continue probing the Epstein case, sparking anger among some prominent 47 supporters who demanded more information about wealthy and powerful people who had interacted with Epstein. 47 has not been accused of wrongdoing related to Epstein, has said their friendship ended before Epstein's legal troubles first began 2 decades ago. Bondi Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche issued a statement that did not directly address the journal's report. Nothing in the files warranted further investigation or prosecution, and we have filed a motion court to unseal the underlying grand jury transcripts, the official said. As a part of our routine briefing, we made the president aware of the findings. Many names appeared. Now, this was on a screen in Times Square. Yeah. And it's very interesting. It's next to a woman in a burlesque corset. Okay. All right. Woo. Many names appear. The newspaper reported that Bondi, her deputy, told 47 at White House meeting that his name, as well as many of those other high-profile figures, appeared in the files. Damn. Which the White House was not happy about that. Right here, people walk out the West Wing with the Epstein files, phase 1. Wow. And hats for sale. Charming. So here is where Epstein used to live, apparently, on the Upper East Side, or in Manhattan, on the Upper East Side, rather, New York City. And there is the number 9 mailbox. Epstein died by wood-eyed in 2019 while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges, to which he pled not guilty in a separate case. Epstein pled guilty in 2008 to an prostitution charge in Florida, receiving a 13-month sentence, and was now widely regarded as too lenient of legal prosecutors. Under political pressure last week, 47 directed the Justice Department to seek the release of sealed grand jury transcripts related to Epstein. On Wednesday, U.S. District Judge Robin Rosenberg denied one of those requests, finding that it did not fall into any of the expectations to rules requiring grand jury material to be kept secret. That motion stems from federal investigations into Epstein in 2005 and 2007, respectively. According to court documents, the department has also requested the unsealing of transcripts in Manhattan Federal Court related to later indictments brought by Epstein and Maxwell. Last week, the Journal reported that 47 has sent Epstein a bawdy birthday note in 2003 that ended, "Happy birthday, may every day be another wonderful secret." Reuters has not confirmed the authenticity of the alleged letter. 47 has sued the Journal and its owners, including billionaire Rupert Murdoch, concerned that the birthday note was fake. Sir, all they would have to do is take it to a calligrapher that can read the signature, and then guess what? Find other signatures and match them up, sir. It would not be that hard to do. Okay. it would not be that hard to do. You need to shut the fuck up, okay? You need to. You're not going to do it, but you need to. So, child, I can't. Like I said, I'm covering this as news, okay? I'm covering it very, very, very carefully. MAGA pushback. 47 of his advisors have long engaged in conspiracy theories, including about Epstein, that have resonated with 47's political base. The Make America Great Again movement, or hatement rather, broad refusal to accept his administration's argument that those theories are now unfounded is unusual for a politician who is accustomed to enjoying relatively unchallenged loyalty from his supporters. Epstein hung himself in prison, according to New York City chief medical examiner. According to the New York City chief medical examiner, but his connections with wealthy and powerful individuals prompted speculation that his death was not a Uaid. The Justice Department said in its memo this month that it had concluded Epstein died by his own hand, and a sign on the issue had bedeviled 47 and divided his fellow Republicans. U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson on Tuesday abruptly said he will send lawmakers home for a summer a day early to avoid a floor fight on a vote on the Epstein files. Oh my God. Like, really? This is the thing y'all are going to... I can't. Oh, my Lord. If everybody just would have done their job on November 4th, my Lord. His decision temporarily stemmed a push by Democrats and some Republicans for a vote on a bipartisan resolution that required the Justice Department to release all Epstein-related documents. But a subcommittee on the House Oversight Committee on Wednesday approved a subpoena seeking all Justice Department files on Epstein. 3 Republicans joined 5 Democrats to back the effort and signed that 47's party was not ready to move from the issue. 47, stung and frustrated by the continued focus on the Epstein story, has sought to divert attention to other topics, including unfounded accusations that former President Barack Obama, not the one that he invited to play golf with him, oh my, undermined 47's successful 2016 campaign. Obama's office denounced the allegations as ridiculous. More than 2/3 of Americans believe the 47 administration is hiding information about Epstein's clients, according to Reuters IPSOS poll conducted last week. Child, that's not all. The president is clearly furious. Okay? This is from Politico. As it goes up for me. There we go. White House is frustrated by all-consuming Epstein coverage. I wonder how Morning Joe's been covering this thing. Because Mika and Joe know the president. Mm-hmm. Officials and allies close to the White House detailed the move inside administration haunted by a notorious sex offender who died by Uaid nearly 6 years ago. Look, listen, okay? Y'all tried to get me with Russiagate. You tried to, I tried to, have voting machines rigged. I've done everything my way, and y'all will not let this go. Even my own supporters are not liking this. Why can't things go my way? Until you do right by people, there ain't gonna be no beauty on your canvas. Lord Jesus. A very iconic line from me and T-Talk with your girls, LAMH review from back in the day. Yes, indeed. Here we go. President 47 is angry. His team is exasperated. Republican-controlled House is in near rebellion. You don't say. 47, his closest allies, thought that they'd spend the summer taking a well-earned victory lap, having coached Congress into passing the mega bill, bullied foreign governments into a slew of new trade agreements, convinced NATO allies to spend billions more on collective defense, and press world leaders to bow to various other demands from Doha to The Hague. Instead, questions surrounding Jeffrey Epstein, the disgraced financier and convicted ex-offender, who was found dead in his jail cell by Uaid nearly 6 years ago, are overshadowing almost everything else. POTUS is clearly furious, said a person close to the White House, who, like others in the story, was granted anonymity to discuss the mood inside the West Wing. It's the first time I've seen them sort of paralyzed. A senior White House official told Politico the president is frustrated with his staff's inability to tamper down conspiracy theories once they spread, and the wall of media coverage that started when Attorney General Pam Bondi released information from the Epstein case that was already in the public domain. Well, it was in the public domain. What was she supposed to do? I mean, I know you don't follow the law, but there are levies that, they're bigger than your levies, right, to pull. He feels that there are way bigger stories that deserve attention, but yet you're not going to give them the attention. So here we are. The senior White House official said after the Bondi released voices on the MAGA right, from Steve Bannon to Laura Loomer, criticized the 47 administration for its handling of the controversy, warning it threatened to consume his presidency. Really, you don't think him winning the presidency and him being inaugurated consumed his presidency? After the first one, yeah, but this is it. Okay, this is the line. This is the limit that has broken MAGA, allegedly. Okay. Then last week, the Wall Street Journal published a story alleging 47 sent Epstein a lewd birthday message. The president has denied sending the letter and filed a defamation lawsuit against the paper, which also means that Rupert Murdoch, who owns the Wall Street Journal, also owns Fox News. Yeah. Yeah, because Fox News could also be mentioned in this lawsuit from the president to the Wall Street Journal, you see. The frustration stems in part from an understanding that this is a vulnerability, said a White House ally. 47 has famously had his finger on the pulse of the Republican base for more than a decade, but has lost the ability to dominate the narrative that threatens to undermine the momentum and sense of invincibility that the GOP felt at the beginning of the month when they were ready to boast about a slew of tax cuts and more funding as their opening pitch to voters ahead of the 2026 midterms. Many of these errors are unforced, resulting from hyped-up accusations from Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel, which is fueling the indignation inside the White House. They're the ones that opened the can of worms on the Epstein conversation. No one made them do this, which makes it sting even worse, the ally said. 47 has tried to refocus the narrative, repeatedly touting the nation's economic strength and accusing former President Barack Obama of treason. On Tuesday, 47 announced what he called the biggest deal ever made with Japan, the United States' fifth largest trading partner in 2024. 47 also announced deals with the Philippines and Indonesia. When you're working 12 to 15 hours a day to solve real problems, and you turn on the TV and see people talking about Jeffrey Epstein, that's frustrating. That's what the president's mindset is, the senior White House official said. You know what's really interesting? The president talked about Stephen Colbert losing his job. See, this is when you should zip it. Break off the zipper and put him in a permanent hug of a jacket. Moving on. Even as the president talks trade and treason, the Department of Justice is working to put Epstein inquiries to rest, petitioning for the release of grand jury files and potentially meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's co-conspirator, who is serving a 20-year federal prison sentence for child ex-African crime, ex-African and child ex-African and other crimes. 47 on Tuesday claimed he did not know what the Justice Department was doing. So you mean to tell me that you know what the Justice Department is doing by allowing police to have martial law and not be prosecuted, but yet you don't know what the Justice Department is doing when it comes to you potentially being implicated in the Epstein files? So you just don't know shit now. Okay. All right there. Wow. Moving on. They would like to move on, talk about the things that they think we they think are W's rather. wins, said the White House ally. They're really annoyed that it's overshadowing the news cycle. But there are plenty in sections of 47 space who wrong believe the government protects the rich and powerful who participate in heinous crimes like Epstein's sexual abuse. Underage girls, Democrats gleefully season on the saga who continue to devour the coverage. And that's when Republican leaders on the Hill and abide as they balance their loyalty to the president against their own fears of the base turning on them. House Republicans canceled several votes this week as leadership struggled to contain the ire from lawmakers demanding the Justice Department release files related to Epstein. The Rules Committee delayed being out, fear that they'd be forced to vote on the Epstein files. House members are worried that it is screwing up the schedule, said the person closest to the White House. There have been points of significant pushback behind the scenes where the House has rolled over, but now the Rules Committee rebelled against the speaker over something POTUS finds embarrassing. It's a big ass deal. You're looking at a straight congressional rebellion. That is everything you need to know from Politico, okay, from Reuters and from CNN. Now, I found this, okay, from the Daily Beast. This is from docs.house.gov, okay, from the Daily Beast. Explosive tapes recorded by author Michael Wolff show Epstein claimed 47 liked to uck his friends' wives and first slept with Melania on the Loda Express. Listen, I just bring information, okay? Jeffrey Epstein described himself as 47's closest friend and claimed intimate knowledge of his proclivity for sex, including cuckolding his best friends. Wow, did Diddy and 47 do a freak-off party together? Don't know. According to recordings obtained exclusively by the Daily Beast, the convicted a PDF file even boasted of his closest to 47 and now his wife Melania by claiming the first time he slept with her was on my plane, which was dubbed the Loda Express. Epstein spoke at length about 47 with the author Michael Wolff in August 2017, 2 years before being found dead in his jail cell. Wolff was researching his bombshell bestseller Fire and Fury at the time, which I have not read, okay, because, listen, I'm doing this full time, but I might need to read it because there might be some tea in there, okay? The recordings cast more light on 47's long relationship with Epstein and will add to debate over the character of the Republican candidate, especially his attitudes and conduct toward women just days before the election. The tapes tell Epstein's version of the relationship between two former friends and their very different paths. One toward infamy, prison, and the other toward power of the Oval Office and his own criminal conviction for paying hush money to our porn star. 47's camp referred to the tapes released as false smears and election interference. The tapes also offer usual insight to the friendship of two wealthy, powerful men frequently went out on the town together, prowling for women in New York and Atlantic City. Epstein painted a complicated portrait of 47. He called him charming and always fun, capable of extraordinary salesmanship, and suggested he was personally in favor of 47's policies on the transgender stuff, but he alleged 47 was a serial cheat in his marriages and loved to uck the wives of his best friends. This is all alleged. He also claimed that while 47 has friends, he was at heart a friendless man incapable of kindness. He alleged that 47 had undergone scalp reduction surgery for his baldness and calls himself the 47ster. And Regis Philbin, Guy Rosisso, called him that during Regis Philbin's final show on Live with Kelly, with Regis and Kelly. Asked by Wolff, how do you know all this? Epstein replied, I was 47's closest friend for 10 years. Wolff shared the tape with the Daily Beast ahead of discussing it on his Fire and Fury podcast on Monday. Last Thursday, he called shockwaves by revealing a few seconds of a separate recording, which Epstein spoke in detail about the inner workings. The 47 administration, Wolff also said Thursday that the PDF file showed all photos of 47 with topless young women sitting in his lap. Wolff, a veteran journalist and author who was also the biographer of Rupert Murdoch, has long attracted praise and bromades. When Fire and Fury was published in January 2018, 47 tried to stop with a failed cease and desist order and then threatened to sue. No case ever materialized and sold 5 million copies worldwide. Wolff who regularly appears on his Fire and Fury podcast, wrote 2 more books on 47 after Fire and Fury and about Epstein in 2021. In 2021, it's too famous. Now, here's the thing. The president actually talked to Michael Wolff. So Michael Wolff interviewed the president and put in the book while he was president of the United States. Yeah. Wolff says he has up to 100 hours of recordings of interviews with Epstein, including from using him as a source for Fire and Fury from years and meetings when the disgraced financier appeared to want Wolff to write a biography of him. Wolff said he decided to release parts of the archive after a new accuser, former Miss Switzerland, alleged last week that 47 groped her in 1992. Let's keep going. The new recording offers extraordinary insights into Epstein, who in 2017 was shuttling freely on his 2 private jets between his Manhattan townhouse, his Palm Beach, Florida estate, and Little St. James, a private island in the Virgin Islands. Lord Jesus. Epstein had been convicted in 2008 in Florida of procuring a child for prostitution and soliciting a prostitute in a plea deal that allowed him to escape prosecution for victimizing multiple underage girls in return for an 18-month sentence. He spent the years after his release associated with billionaires, including Leon Black, the co-founder of Apollo Global Management, which is a very huge venture capital firm that has invested quite a lot into different businesses. Okay, so right here is the this Gulfstream right here and his Boeing 727 Double Lotus Express. He had those 2 planes there, including Leon Black, the co-founder of Apollo Global Management, who paid him more than $150 million for financial advice, and Microsoft founder Bill Gates, and dining behind closed doors with members of the financial political elite. However, in July 2019, he was arrested by the FBI and charged with child trafficking. 6 weeks later, Epstein's body was found hanging in his prison cell. Authorities said that he died by suicide. Wolff told the Beast he interviewed Epstein, then 64, in a gargantuan study in his townhouse on East 71st Street in Manhattan 2 years before his death. The Beast has reviewed the entire recording, which is 1 hour 44 minutes long. The voice on the tape clearly matches recordings of Epstein's voice from depositions in 2012 and 2016. The 47 campaign has already tapped Wolff for releasing audio of Epstein calling the author a disgraced writer who routinely fabricates lies and or to sell fiction books because he clearly has no morals or ethics. But the president sat down with Michael Wolff for the book Fire and Fury. The president of the United States sat down with the person that he is calling a disgrace. The president of the United Mother-ucking States sat down with Michael Wolff, the author of Fire and Fury. Sir, over 100 hours of Epstein. I am sure Michael Wolff is going to be releasing some more audio. Up to 100 hours? Oh, yeah, this is far from over. Okay? All right, moving on. A spokesperson renewed that attack Saturday and said he waited days before the election to make outlandish false smears, all in an effort to engage in blatant election interference on behalf of Kamala Harris. He's a failed journalist that has resorted to lying for attention. Sources in the 47 camp also suggested that it was widely known that 47 had kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago when he learned about the sex trafficking allegations. This is where he used to live there. 47's long friendship with Epstein, which spanned the late 1980s, 1990s, and early 2000s, has well been documented. In the 1990s, the two publicly partied at Mar-a-Lago and went to Victoria's Secret Angel show together. In 2002, 47 told New York Magazine of Epstein, "I know Jeff for 15 years, terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with." It's even said he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. Epstein's infamous leaked address books had 47's own phone number as well as Melania's. 47's name appeared 7 times in the passengers' logs or the manifest of Epstein's planes. The books and logs also include princes, politicians, and potentiates such as Bill Clinton, former British Prime Minister Tony Blair, former Israel Prime Minister Ehud Barak, Prince Andrew, and celebrities and billionaires including Mick Jagger and Lex Wexner, the person who used to be in charge of Victoria's Secret. In 2022, Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's former girlfriend, who procured him underage girls, will be sentenced to 20 years of federal prison for sex trafficking of minors. Upon hearing of her arrest in 2020, 47 then president said he wished her well. Friend or boyfriend was either killed or committed with in jail. Yeah, I wish her well. Good luck. In 2004, Epstein and 47 fell out when they both tried to buy Palm Beach estate. Madison de la Amit. Out bankruptcy the next year, the FBI began investigating Epstein for child trafficking. 2019, on the day of Epstein's arrest, 47 said in the Oval Office, "I was not a fan of his, that I can tell you, and that they had not been friends for 15 years. He said it did not matter. It did not much matter. What? It didn't matter much. That's what should have been said." What the fallout happened over the September asked about Epstein by tech podcaster Lex Friedman. 47 said he was a good salesman. He was a hailing, hearty type of guy. He had some nice assets that he liked to throw around like Alex, but a lot of big people went to that island. Fortunately, I was not one of them. However, the financiers' version of the relationship has never been heard until now. So this is the estate that they fought over. It looks like a prison. Like what? No, like the roof is just what the hell do you? This is what y'all fought over? Okay. He offers a portrait of 47 womanizing, yelling at his staff. So womanizing, grabbing them by the ussy. So there's that, yelling at his staff. He did yell at some people in the White House, and basically living a friendless life with his only daughter, Ivanka, and Secretary and spy got truly loyal to him. But he was married to Melania, so interesting. And then his son Barron, he didn't care about Barron, and then Eric and Don Jr. Wow. Moving on. 47 say he was almost functionally illiterate, but did read the page 6 gossip column in the New York Post. He was incapable of reading a balance sheet, and any act of kindness would have been an accident, Epstein said. But is Epstein's description of 47's conduct toward women, which was likely to attract most attention. Given the pair's strong friendship and the 28 women who had made accusations against the former president of sexual misconduct, all of which he denies. Many of the attacks are alleged to have occurred when he and Epstein were friends. On the tape, Epstein can be heard saying he's a horrible human being. He does nasty things to his best friends' wives, anyone who he first tries to gain their trust, and uses it to do bad things to them. One occasion, Epstein alleged 47 took a woman to what he called the Egyptian Room in Atlantic City Casino. Now, for those of you may not know, he had 47 Taj Mahal, right? Epstein alleged he came out afterwards, said it was great. It was great. The only thing I like to do is hug the wives of my best friends. That is just the best. Ooh, child. Okay. Almost done, y'all. He alleged that he and 47 would pick up women and combining to split them from their male companions. We will always just go to Atlantic City to try to find girls in the casino. He said if there was a guy would say, "I'm here to invite the guy to go out to dinner," and he said to the other woman, "Let me show you the casino." As he walked out, he put his arm around the girl's shoulder. The bodyguard walked up to Donald and wished to take the girl away. Epstein also alleged that 47 had an elaborate scheme to procure sex with his friends' wives. He would call the men into his 47 Tower office and ask them about their sex lives and how often, and offered them sex with beauty pageant contestants, the PDF file said. Now, for those of you who don't know, he used to own the Miss America pageant, and he had to give that up because of allegations. And then it went to WME IMG. Steve Harvey hosted for a few years until the incident of all incidents on live TV, and Steve Harvey had some ownership in that. And then it went to Gretchen Carlson, who used to work at Fox News, but now is the owner of that. Okay. He would do this while the wives were unknown to their husband, listening on speakerphone. Wait, what? So he would call the men up to his office, ask them about their sex lives, and then offer them to be pageant contestants. And he would, what the hell? And the wives were listening on the speakerphone? And then use the fact that he is seducing the husbands, so that way the wives could be upset, so that way they could screw the president? Epstein claimed, you better have had a better than your wife. Tell me about what Epstein alleges 47 would ask his friends. Epstein can be heard acting out what he alleged was 47's elaborate seduction technique to Wolf, using Wolf's name and that of his wife George demonstrated. Epstein said, what is it like to do that? What is it like to have sex with your wife? How often do you have sex with her? Epstein claimed 47 would say, you must have had a better than your wife. Tell me about it. Then the PDF file alleged 47 would say, can you and I go upstairs or tomorrow come over? There's this girl coming in from Los Angeles, part of the whatever Hawaiian trumpet contest, so come over. We can have a great time, I promise you, Michael. It's just me and you. We can have a great time. Epstein added, the whole time Victoria is with us on the phone. He would use the wives' anger to seduce them, he claimed. Child, the Epstein tape includes an allegation, which is impossible to verify, that 47 had an affair for a politician while in the White House. Really? So he did a little JFK, having Marilyn Monroe going underground the White House and having her come up rather, into the Oval Office. Mr. President. Good ass. Anyway, Epstein offered no proof or sourcing for the claim. He also alleged that 47 cheated on his first wife and second wife, Marla Maples, with a black girl. Excuse me for a minute. What? What the fuck? Moving on. At one section, Epstein used a Yiddish racial slur to refer to black women and alleged 47 boasted to him, I'm ucking all these black women. This is all alleged. The link is in the description box below. The tape mixes sexual allegations with other aspects of 47's life. Early in the recording, Epstein is heard to say, right, you probably know he has scalp reduction. He's getting the same male pattern baldness that we all have. He had his scalp reduced. It's hysterical. 47 has long refused to release medical records, while his White House medical reports did not disclose any prior surgeries. He's charming in a devious way. He's charming to some extent. It's a typical tragedy where he believes it's on bullish. Epstein on 47. And Epstein offers his eyewitness account of 47 Tower and 47's office, where he said 47 had fake honors on the wall. 47, he claimed, would yell at his personal assistant, Ronna Groff, who is a loyal, perfect secretary, as well as Matthew Calamari Sr., his bodyguard. Michael Cohen, his attorney, who is now an enemy. Epstein compared 47 to an emotionally challenged 9-year-old and said he screams and yells at Ronna more than anybody else. His screaming is how he treats people. He has a tantrum, not a temper. If you don't understand him, it's frightening. Once you understand, it's sort of silly. Reminds me of the President Show on Comedy Central. Child, if you have not seen that, that was a show. You hear me? It was great content. Epstein also told Wolf that he had positive things to say about 47. He's charming in a devilish way. He's charming. He said, to some extent, it's a typical tragedy where he believes it's on bullish. He has had delusions of grandiosity, and then he takes it on board. He added that he had a self-deprecating nature and was not woke. He's funny. Epstein said self-awareness means you're self-aware. He's aware of that person, 47. He talks about the 47, the 47 stir. 47 is getting laid. Despite Epstein speaking of his Democrat friends, he offered praise for some aspects of 47's time in office and said, I think he's doing a pretty good job at certain things. He's not getting credit for all the transgender stuff, bathroom stuff, giving police back their weapons. On the tape, Epstein speaking in a New York accent also mentioned the rich and powerful in a deposition released after his death. Epstein admitted under oath that he dropped the names of the people he had never met. He mentioned the names he mentioned on tape include former President Bill Clinton, Ivanka 47, and her husband Jared Kushner, then Defense Secretary James Mathis, and billionaires Carl Icahn and Tom Barack, both of whom are friends of 47. Clinton was a long-standing friend of Epstein, but has denied any association with the PDF files disgraced in the mid-2000s. Mathis has no association with him. Ivanka was photographed with him as a child, but Kushner has never been known to be linked to him. Barack appeared in a leaked appointment diary for Epstein in 2016, while Carl Icahn, a corporate raider and longtime 47 friend, was in Epstein's 1997 address book, starringly for a man who became one of the world's most notorious sex offenders. Epstein on the tapes offers a damning judgment of 47, telling Wolf moral compass just does not exist. So, shout out to Hugh Doherty for doing this here. The heirs note the Daily Beast Chief Content Officer Joanne Coles holds an investment Kaleidoscope, the maker of the Fiery and Fury podcast. So, I can't get the audio because it's subscriber mode, but I will show you this here, okay, just to show you that it is available if you want to be a subscriber, right there, okay. All right, now with that being said, we do have more Braylon's Virtual Tour Live coming up right from the space right here, right now. We got some videos, and then y'all, we're done. Okay. Bondi briefed 47 that his name was in Epstein files. This comes to us from CNN. When Attorney General Pam Bondi briefed President 47 in May on the Justice Department's review of the documents related to the Jeffrey Epstein case, she told him that his name appeared in the files. Sources familiar with the discussion told CNN. The conversation, which also included Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, was characterized by two White House officials as a routine briefing that covered the scope of the Justice Department's findings. 47's name appearing in the files, he said, was not the sole focus of the discussions. Bondi also raised the meaning that several names of high-profile figures were also mentioned. That investigators did not find evidence of a so-called client list or evidence refuting that Epstein died by ooid. Hey, shout out to my state of Arkansas there, the official said. The official said the road is calling, get out there. Shout out to my state right there, Arkansas, the natural state. Yes, indeed. Shout out to y'all. Love y'all. Yes, I do. Just get rid of the damn governor, please and thank you. Kindly. The sources familiar with the Justice Department's review said the files appear to include several unsubstantiated claims that the Justice Department found not to be credible, including those related to 47. It wasn't clear in what context 47's name appeared in the files. Like many high-profile people in the 1990s, New York 47 was associated with Epstein's, or to cultivate celebrities to burnish his business. The revelation that his name appears in the documents does little to advance previous knowledge about his ties to the late sex offender. The White House is not surprised by this. 47's name was present in the binders that Bondi produced and handed out, one of the White House officials said, adding that many other materials already released by the Justice Department and had included the mention of the president's name. The White House does not view this as groundbreaking or new or surprising at all. The official said, adding that there was no evidence that 47 was involved in any wrongdoing. The fact that the president kicked him out of his club for being a creep. White House Communications Director Stephen Chun said in a statement to CNN, referring to Epstein, this is nothing more than a continuation of fake news stories concocted by the Democrats and liberal media, just like the Obama-Russiagate scandal, which President 47 was right about. According to Stephen Chun, that does not mean it's true. The Wall Street Journal first reported that Bondi informed 47 in May about his name appearing in the documents. The revelations about the meeting contradict 47's more recent denials that he was told he was in the files. Pressed last week on whether Bondi had told him that he was named the documents, rather, he said, no, she's given us just a very quick briefing. 47 has struggled to tamp down weeks of backlash over the administration's decision not to release more documents related to the Epstein investigation, a move that infuriated a vocal segment of the MAGA base and put the president at odds with some of his most ardent supporters. Inside the White House, officials were outraged that Bondi did not redact 47's name publicly. Redact 47's name from publicly available materials contained in Epstein's binders distributed to influencers in February. Referred to protect the president during the episode has been a long-standing point of contention between the Department of Justice and the White House. The Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigations reviewed the Epstein files and reached the conclusion set out in the July 6th memo. Bondi and Blanche said in a statement on Wednesday, nothing in the files warranted further investigation or prosecution. We have filed a motion in court to unseal the underlying grand jury transcripts. As a part of our routine briefing, we made the president aware of the findings. The White House has dismissed the ongoing focus on the Epstein files, arguing that it's distracting from the administration's accomplishments and aiding Democrats' efforts to damage the president. Have you noticed anytime this comes out, like, guys, Democrats don't have to do any of this. Like, he had history before becoming president, okay? But a growing bipartisan chorus of lawmakers have since called for a full release of the documents, forcing Republican leaders of Capitol Hill to cut short rather than legislative session to avoid taking a serious vote on the matter. But before leaving town, a House Oversight Subcommittee voted Wednesday to subpoena the Department of Justice to release files related to Epstein. A Wall Street Journal report last week about a letter bearing 47's name and the outline of a naked woman that was included in an album given to Epstein for his 50th birthday in 2003, has also ratcheted up the pressure on 47. 47 denied writing the letter, has since sued the Wall Street Journal over its publication of that article. CNN Kevin Liptak, Paula Reed, and Kit Mayer contribute to this report. So, with that being said, we have some videos here. Let's get to it. My Lord Jesus, this comes to us from 10 News. Okay, here we go.
The pressure over the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, he's now turning on his own supporters for demanding the public release of the sex predator's client list, something Trump himself was calling for.
And it's caused a giant split in the MAGA movement.
You see them losing their souls on live TV. This is going to be an unmitigated disaster. I don't know how they got Trump and the DOJ to do this, because the public is not buying it. No one is buying it.
Now, for Alex Jones to have sense when he said that Sandy Hook was fake, that tells you how far gone we are. Here we go.
Like a meltdown.
Because I have integrity.
Said no one ever, motherfucker, but go ahead.
I just really need the Trump administration to succeed and to save this country, and they're doing so much good.
Also
and
said
for them
no
to do
one
something
ever, but go ahead.
Like this tears my guts out.
Trump supporters turn.
There just is no option that allows you to just, vindicate the Trump administration entirely and say, well, there's no funny business going on here. That option doesn't exist.
As their leader abandons them.
They're stupid people. Yeah, go ahead.
Fed up with what he calls the Epstein hoax.
It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net.
The president posting, my past supporters have bought into this bullshit hook, line, and sinker.
Oh, wow. You said that about your supporters? Oh, my Lord. And you're trying to dismiss yourself from them saying past supporters. Well, it looks like Hillary Clinton was right about your supporters being deplorables. Rolling on.
Hook, line, and sinker. Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work, because I don't want their support anymore.
Does that mean that you're effectively disowning any supporters who are...
No, but I lost a lot of faith in certain people. All it is the Republicans, certain Republicans got duped by the Democrats, and they're following a Democrat playbook.
The MAGA mutiny sparked by a standoff over Jeffrey Epstein's so-called client list, a who's who of the disgraced child sex traffickers' powerful patrons. Trump campaigned on a promise to release the list. Earlier this year, his Attorney General said she had it ready on her desk. But in June, a bombshell, courtesy of friend-turned-foe Elon Musk, Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. He tweeted, "That's the real reason they've not been made public."
Oof, Trump supporter. This was not confirmed when Elon Musk put out this tweet. Now, Elon Musk is a piece of shit bastard that should have been swallowed by his fucking mother. So should have 47. I mean, his own mother said that he is stupid and he should not go into politics. Obviously, she knew the hell that he was going to be. And here we are. Let's roll on.
Public. Oof, Trump supporters, are you okay? Then last week, the Department of Justice said the list didn't exist and no further documents would be released, prompting a conservative. Last week, the Department of Justice said the list didn't exist and no further documents would be released. Last week, the Department of Justice said the list didn't exist and no further documents would be released.
So you want to just say there was collusion and quid pro quo? Don't bring this out because this can destroy us all, and you think you weren't going to get away with this shit? Okay, all right, move on.
Prompting a conservative coup.
Where's the Epstein files? Can't find them. Don't exist. Like, they can get away with man. Yeah.
I support having all the information released. We should be the party of transparency, not the party that covers up.
10 News.
What you say? Oh my.
Plus can reveal new polling, which shows 2/3 of American voters and a higher proportion of Trump supporters disagreeing with the decision to keep the list secret.
Okay, first of all, 63% of Americans in general disagree with him with 47 not releasing the list, and 67% of his own supporters disagree. But then 71% believe it's a cover-up. And his own supporters, 75% of his own supporters claim cover-up. No words, roll it on.
The administration is engaging in a cover-up.
At the very least, half of the supporters are not in favor of the way he's responding about the Epstein list.
The divide is unprecedented in the Trump era.
This has been the first fracture in MAGA.
And it's far from over.
The Epstein list.
47 says if you believe that Epstein hoax, you are no longer his supporter. Well, listen. If y'all are not wanting to support the president, don't you come over this side. Stay your ass over there. You voted for this motherfucking piece of shit bastard. Stay your fucking ass where you're supposed to be.
The divide is unprecedented in the Trump era.
This has been
what the fuck is this?
Unprecedented in the Trump era.
This has been the first.
The divide is unprecedented in the Trump era.
What the hell is this? Like, what are we doing? Oh yeah, let me pull the levers to get me out of this shit. Big money. Everybody mad. Everybody mad. What the hell is this?
Unprecedented in the Trump era.
This has been the first fracture in MAGA.
And it's far from over.
What he should be concerned about is that a little thing can be turned into a big thing by not handling it right. These so-called stupid Republicans yesterday were his biggest band of supporters. They are already turning on him.
I'm jumping ship, and all of you should as well.
What? Oh my, y'all, we got 3 more years of this shit. It's too late. You should have understood the assignment November 4th.
People control this narrative.
The emotion of Americans is incredible, particularly Trump supporters. Alex Jones, who was crying at the top of that story, said he was physically sick. He was vomiting over this.
Shout out to 10 News. It sounds like they're from the UK. I love the fact that these two people see the bullshit and they are not giving no two flying fucks, dams, shits, whatever. They are letting it fly, and I'm here for it. Love these two. Give these people 20 million pounds a year.
It is amazing. And really for them, it's only going to get worse, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the biggest fright I think Donald Trump has had yet in terms of his own movement turning on him. But if we know anything about him, it's that he's Teflon, nothing sticks.
Yeah, too true.
I did ask about Morning Joe, right? I did say that, right? Here's some context for Morning Joe.
We got so much to talk about this morning between Hunter Biden and Donald Trump's social media platform and all the other things that are going around. Jonathan Lemire, it seems like one is trying to laser focus on how the Democratic Party did his father wrong. And by the way, I got a lot of calls from Democrats who are like, you got a lot of that right. I'm not hearing from a ton of Democrats who are angry at what Hunter Biden said. And you can, of course, discuss Ambien Gate. But also, of course, the New York Times reporting will be going through this for a good bit this morning. New York Times reporting this morning pretty much what everybody in Washington and New York, anybody that follow politics, have concluded, and that is Donald Trump is throwing everything at the wall. Now, you can say he's doing it to distract from Epstein. You can say he's doing it to distract from whatever, but there is no doubt he's throwing everything at the wall, from football names to Barack Obama to you name it.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time probably before President Trump weighs in on that Hunter Biden interview, because it seems like there's not a topic out of his reach at the moment. First on Hunter, yes, I heard from some Democrats who felt like this wasn't helpful. There's certainly there's a element, a wing of the party that is desperate just to put the last year's election behind them, to stop relitigating what went wrong when so many things did go wrong. But you saw there, a son angry at how his father has been treated by some in the media, but also by members of his own party. We know President Biden, he was sick, he was exhausted, and he was old. This is the first time we've heard about the Ambien element of this, but we do know his travel schedule was brutal. There were some in his camp who were guessing that at the time, thinking he was doing too much, shuttling back and forth between Europe events and the States. He had to go out to the West Coast for a high-profile fundraiser. We know the litany of things. And certainly Hunter Biden angry about how his father's been treated. Some agree that there's been a lot of finger pointing among Democrats at the Biden campaign and how it was run at the time. Others also are just eager for him to move on and the party to move on. But Joe, you're also right about President Trump.
Now, here's the thing, right? I believe that, you can't do this to this man's dad and not expect the son not to say anything, right? So I fully agree with that. In the same token, I believe that Democrats are like, damn, maybe we really should have supported the Bidens a little bit more, because look at the shit we got now. So, yeah.
It's been a rare stretch here. He has not taken a question from the media in a number of days. And look, for all of the criticisms one can level at President Trump, he's extremely accessible to the press. He is. But he has not taken a single question from the press since the Wall Street Journal broke the story about the birthday letter he allegedly sent Jeffrey Epstein. That came out Thursday night. We haven't seen him since, but we've heard from him quite a bit on Truth Social. Yes. And it does say, I'm told from aides, that he has been angry about some of the coverage. He is trying to change the subject. We do expect that he'll have some public events today. He'll probably take some questions. We'll see where the story goes from here.
And we'll, of course, be talking about how the Wall Street Journal reporter has been pulled from the press pool for his overseas trip. But yeah, a lot of things going on. In fact, the lead in the Times today, Trump's deflections ease base's fury over Epstein. Caddy, this is the lead story. And man, they're doing everything from releasing records from Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination against the family's best wishes, to spinning oldies but goldies, the political equivalent of Blueberry Hill. I mean, talking about Barack Obama and, quote, Russiagate, which, of course, takes you back to the first months of Donald Trump's first administration.
Yeah, I mean, far be it from any of us to suggest that Tulsi Gabbard may do something that is not directly in line with intelligence, but might be political. But this does look like another political attempt to try and change the conversation.
Very well done, very well done. Because, child, this is a shit show. Okay? More commentary from Morning Joe. Let's roll it on with Joe.
Another piece of sports news that seems to be custom made for Pablo to comment on. President Donald Trump demanding name changes for two major sports franchises. On his Truth Social site yesterday, Trump called for the NFL Washington Commanders and Major League Baseball Cleveland Guardians to revert to their previous former monikers, the Redskins and the Indians. The president also threatened to block the Commanders' impending move back to D.C. and the team's new stadium if it fails to do so. That of the Commanders' ownership group said earlier this year the name was here to stay. Meanwhile, the Guardians president of baseball operations told reporters yesterday, quote, "We understand there are different perspectives on the decision we made a few years ago, but obviously it's a decision we've made. We've got the opportunity to build a brand as the Guardians over the last 4 years that are excited, blah, 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 blah." So I did a little checking on my Google machine, Jonathan Lemire. Very fascinating. No, you're not going to believe these results. I don't think you will. I expected to find out that the Redskins name was extraordinarily controversial and everybody would want them to change it, while the Indians might not be as controversial. Listen to these numbers. The Washington Post in 2016 took a poll of Native Americans, and 90% of Native Americans said the name did not bother them. An AP poll in April of 2013, 79% of respondents said don't change the name. They don't support the name change. 11%, only 11% at the time supported the name change. Now those numbers have changed some, especially among younger Americans. But the Indians' name, it was split, actually, much closer. About the same amount of people who opposed the name change supported the name change. So, of course, the president doesn't have as much power over what the Cleveland Guardians do, but he certainly has some sway over what happens in Washington. So, what do you think?
Yeah, there are a few things here. First of all, Trump, one of his Truth Social posts.
Child, I know. But that's not all. So, name changing of teams for sports. We got veterans that deserve good medical care. Women, children, and men getting DV and everything in between unnecessarily. Job Corps being canceled by the government. So that means teens are now homeless. Cutting down, dismantling, and destroying the Department of Education. You got the Secretary of Education who believes in A1 instead of AI. Child, look at this from the Young Turks. Here we go.
Okay. So President Trump has acknowledged that the Epstein files exist here. President Trump has acknowledged that the files were written and that there is something there. He says that they were written, however, by his enemies and therefore will not be released. Whoa, what? By admitting that the Epstein files are real and have been written and that you've read them and you don't like their contents and they were written by your enemies, doesn't make the most compelling case as far as I'm concerned. Holy moly.
President Donald Trump told his supporters to stop caring about the Epstein files.
By the way, shouts Sharon there.
As you can tell, that strategy, not too successful, not yet. A lot more MAGA fury where that came from. As we mentioned, there are many more conservatives who were very unhappy with President Trump's response. Watch this clip.
We go to Travis in South Dakota. Hello, Travis.
Hi, Glenn. Hi, Jason. I tell you what, guys, I feel really betrayed and I feel really, really angry. We have a president who tells us to move on from Epstein because it doesn't matter. Are you guys still talking about this seriously? And yet he still talks about the 2020 election fraud.
I'm a free American. I supported Donald Trump in this last election. Yes, he did just actively cover up a giant child rapist ring, and I'm going to criticize him for that. Okay?
Wait
And
a minute. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hang on. Let's hear that 2 more times, just to make sure that we're all on the same page here with our eardrums hearing what we heard.
The election fraud.
I'm a free American. I supported Donald Trump in this last election. Yes, he did just actively cover up a giant child rapist ring, and I'm going to criticize him for that.
The election fraud.
I'm a free American. I supported Donald Trump in this last election. Yes, he did just actively cover up a giant child rapist ring, and I'm going to criticize him for that. Okay? And I'm sorry, after all these years of us right-wingers saying, protect the children, come on, that's bad for your soul if you don't. You speak up about that. It's horrible what he's doing.
We went from, I've got thousands of hours of footage, to, there ain't no files, where's in nothing, there's no list, I don't know.
I'm getting sick and tired of being lied to. I'm being sick and tired of all the lies. And
imagine how we fucking felt when y'all pieces of shit bastards and bastardenesses that should have been swallowed by your fucking mothers elected this piece of shit bastard. What the fuck?
by the way, I don't care if those lies are coming from someone with a D next to their name or someone with an R next to their name. I'm sick of the lies and I'm calling you all out.
Wow. Wow, did Adam Silver say the same thing at the DNC, that this ain't about Democrat, Republicans, about right is right, wrong is wrong? What the hell?
All right, so a lot of passionate voices there. At least Fox News, that's got to be a safe spot for the president, right? No, Fox News hosts also chimed in criticizing Donald Trump. Watch.
If there's anybody who could walk in and say, okay, we've resolved all of the questions and there is nothing here, it would be President Trump and his crew. The problem is you can't really do it without giving some explanation. And there has to be some explanation. And I think that's why you have a lot of people still pretty with a lot of very valid questions about it.
You absolutely nailed it. You can defuse this ticking time bomb if you simply get out there. You can't tell me that 1,000 people were hurt and that there are no people out there that we can arrest. You can't tell me that, sorry, we don't have a list. Fine, don't have a list. Tell me who the perpetrators were.
It's obvious that this is a huge PR disaster for the Trump administration. There's no way for them to spin their way out of this. I think the Epstein issue had, for a lot of MAGA types, became a proxy for whether this DOJ was going to live up to their very high expectations. And obviously, Bondi, Bongino, Patel, everyone involved in this sort of failed on that.
Whether or not this was a cover-up, now there's almost like a cover-up of a cover-up going on. And Pam Bondi and others are insulting the intelligence of their base.
More outrage on X. Megyn Kelly weighing in. There are really only two options. There's no huge undisclosed there on Epstein. Bondi misled on it until she didn't. And Trump is quick to forgive a loyal soldier for being desperate to get on TV. Or, number two, there is a scandal that's being covered up and it's at his direction.
Now, I want to point out the caucasity, the cosmocracy, the cosmagination. Megyn Kelly, who went from Fox News over to MB motherfucking C for Megyn Kelly today to do a 1 hour show, the third hour today from 9 to 10 a.m. to do sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows, and daytime talk show and a news magazine, and thinking she can be mainstream. And then defended him after the president went after Megyn Kelly. Very disrespectful. So for her now to switch up, because the trough that she eats out of, for her to have a check, might be swallowed up. It's beyond mentally satisfying. Let's roll on.
Patrick Bet David stated this in regards to Epstein. Either stop bringing up why many are annoyed with the Epstein cover-up and take the L, or tell your base the truth. Whatever you do, though, stop blaming the voters. This isn't the voters' fault. Over-explaining is often the loudest whisper of doubt.
Wow.
Gunther Eagleman, I was told no one is above the law. But there are still loyalists, still some that are sticking with Donald Trump. Here's Alex Jones blaming the whole mess on the Democrats.
As you know, I just call balls and strikes. And after
calling balls and strikes got your ass sued, motherfucker, where your ass is broke. But moving on.
years of saying they will release the Epstein file or list, suddenly they're not going to, and we're told it doesn't exist. But then Trump comes out last night and says, well, it does exist, but the Democrats had control of it, manipulated it, which is actually true. They've had control, but they would destroy anything they didn't want in there and leave what they wanted in there. And then Trump wants it closed. He wants it shut down, which looks extremely incriminating. But from all of my deep research, never saw Trump involved in any illegal activity with Jeffrey Epstein. So we are simply here tracking this case, not choosing a side, not wanting to make things be what we want them to be, but simply looking at the facts. But I dropped the ball. I didn't even think about the fact. I'm like, oh yeah, if they've had the list, they've had the files for years.
I'm going to trust my friends, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, my friend Pam Bondi, all these guys. I'm going to, Todd Blanche, I'm going to trust them to solve it.
And we don't need to know all the details here. Leave it to the people that are duly elected and they'll handle it, the administration. The timing of that statement by Kirk is very interesting. Look at what CNN reported just over the weekend. President called some of the Attorney General's most vocal critics in an effort to stem the bleeding over the Epstein files. 3 sources familiar with the matter told CNN. Trump's calls included one with conservative activist Charlie Kirk on Saturday to express his support for Bondi. And yesterday, Alex Jones stated that Trump world surrogates are threatening to punish influencers for speaking out. Take a look at this.
Meet sites on map.com.
Child, there's a thing called the First Amendment, motherfucker. You used it, and once again, Pizzagate, Sandy Hook, any other thing that you've done, motherfucker, your wife, your ex-wife, doesn't even want you to be the father of y'all kids.
The first interactive cruise itinerary explorer.
The attempts by some of Trump world surrogates to reach out to talk show hosts and journalists and influencers and say, hey, your access will be cut off. You'll never be invited to a Trump event again. You'll never be invited to the White House.
First of all, nobody gives a fuck about being invited anyway, so it wouldn't really be a loss, but continue.
You'll never be any of this stuff. You're not going to need conservative sponsorship, no campaign contribution, ads running next cycle if you do this. That's been going on.
So, Jen, can Trump and his loyalists get control of this thing through threats, access, pleas, to kind of beat it back and bury it for once and for all?
Yeah, no, I don't think they can. So this is putting 2 different things at play here. So there's so much to talk about. Also, want to comment on a bunch of things Alex Jones just said and Charlie Kirk said. First, though, I'm very curious about this poll. So the show's live 6 to 8 p.m. every day, right? Monday through Friday. And so we're asking, like, if we asked you, will some of MAGA break on this story and oppose Trump? Well, that jury already came in. I mean, if you say, no, nobody in MAGA broke, you're on a different planet. Hope God you have oxygen on that planet. No, MAGA is in full revolt. That's not an open question anymore, right? Oxygen. So that wouldn't be interesting. Now, some on the left have moved the goalposts. No, they have to break away from Trump and then say that they will vote for Kamala Harris next time. Nobody's gonna say that. No, they have to
see if everybody would have done what they were supposed to do, right? On November 4th, we wouldn't be in this mess. So will the MAGA influencers forgive 47 for going over? Forgive 47 over the Epstein fiasco. 20% say I'm not sure. 35% say yes. If 35% said yes, and 45% said no. There. So shout out to Jink and Anna from the Young Turks. But that's not all. There is more. So let's watch this. Okay, here we go with this. This is Megyn Kelly Ben Shapiro. Okay, here we go. Let's watch a little bit.
I have the names of the people who are making the claim that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself.
You can't come to me and say, everybody I know says he killed himself. And then I respond saying, I actually have my own sources who say he didn't. And then you say, well, your sources are not valid because they won't put their names on it.
The same thing holds true for people who are making claims on the other side. Otherwise, I can claim that he was working for a cadre of space aliens who are blackmailing high-profile Americans in order to protect from a future invasion.
Megyn Kelly recently debated Ben Shapiro on the notion that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself while in prison. And while Kelly hasn't really made a definitive statement about anything related to Epstein, she wants more evidence, she wants openness and transparency. Ben Shapiro, interestingly enough, quick and pretty eager to buy the government's claims. Interesting. Now, the debate began with Megyn Kelly potentially breaking news here about some of what her sources have been telling her about Epstein behind the scenes. Let's take a look.
I have my own sources high up in the law enforcement, let's say, I'll just go that far, who say, not only do we believe he was an agent, but we don't believe he killed himself.
I mean, that's fine. And then they should come out and they should say that. And then they should say who's covering that up.
Okay, but this is what, Ben, they can't. I mean, there are a lot of people who say they can't, right? They can't because let's look at what the administration is saying right now. They don't want to be the one to cross Trump. Look, my position is let's show us all the evidence so we can come to our own conclusions.
I have names of the people. So I agree with you. That's fine.
So Ben Shapiro says he has his own sources. And I want to go to that video next because it's interesting who he's relying on here. He names names. Megyn Kelly says, look, these are conversations I've had with sources off the record. I haven't gotten permission to share their names, so I'm not gonna do that. Shapiro's like, I got my own sources. I'm gonna name some names. So let's hear who they are.
I have the names of the people who are making the claim that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself and that the most gross, and sort of extreme of the conspiracy theories, just don't even call them conspiracy theories. The most sort of, extreme version of the theory is not true. I have names of the people who are claiming that. Okay, they are all in the administration.
You can't come to me and say, everybody I know says he killed himself. And then I respond saying, I actually have my own sources who say he didn't. And then you say, well, your sources are not valid because they won't put their names on it. Okay, who are your sources? Let's go down the list and then we'll talk about why they might be saying that.
My sources are the President of the United States, the Vice President of the United States, Kash Patel, the head of the FBI, Dan Bongino, the Deputy Head of the FBI, and Pam Bondi, the Attorney General.
Your sources are the people that are alleged to have taken part in the cover-up? Okay, go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, so look, he is now doing something that makes me think that he is super comfortable that the files are never, ever, ever going to be released.
100%.
Because he keeps saying in this conversation, but in other things I've seen him say as well, like, yeah, sure, I agree. They should release the files. He almost does it with a smirk, like, yeah, good luck with that, right? So I can say anything I want about it now. Well, why don't they come out then?
Actually, let's go to that video because I appreciate what Megyn Kelly says in response to his argument. Take a look.
The moment I loved our Subaru Outback most
Thank goodness.
was the moment they walked.
You've got Kash, you've got Dan, and you've got Pam, and we've already discussed that memo in full detail. I'm talking about people behind the scenes who, prior to this, to Trump taking office, I'm not gonna get too specific, but trust me, I have high-level sources who have said they don't believe any of that. Okay. So, and I'm not going to out them for purposes of convincing you, but you're telling me to name them. No, I'm not going to. I don't have authorization.
I'm not
and then you say, well, I dismiss all of it because you won't name them.
Hold on, Megyn, I'm not saying you should name them. I'm saying they should name themselves because otherwise they are being complicit in one of the greatest cover-ups in the history of the American
American
Republic.
That's easy for you to say, Ben. That's easy. That's very easy for you to say.
Why is that easy for me to say? Why?
Because you'll have your job and you'll have your millions, no matter what they do.
Megyn, give me a break.
There are reasons not to cross the people who are in charge. And that's all I'm gonna say. And look, this is me not having drawn a conclusion. I don't know what the truth is.
And in addition to.
Woo. So I will give credit where credit is due. I still think Megyn Kelly is not the brightest tool in the shed, but proud of her for standing on faith of, bruh, listen, you have the people you have is the people that really everybody else have. Okay, so the the Stanley Cup you have has lead in it. Okay, so here is more here.
The MAGA sphere is increasingly enraged with Donald Trump
David Pacman.
because he and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are saying we're not going to release the Epstein this or that. The list doesn't exist. There's no relevant video, even though that's the opposite of what they were saying for years. Let's take a look. Here is Megyn Kelly. We're going to go through everybody from MAGA who's turning on Trump. Here's Megyn Kelly, very angry with Pam Bondi.
Kind of an attorney general would pretend she's giving new information to some of the president's most loyal advocates in the press, you know, buying ink by the barrel. So either Pam Bondi knew she was about to embarrass some of his most loyal surrogates out there and did that willingly, or she didn't take the time to make sure what was in those binders.
Child, it's the fact that this woman was smiling and trying to show off that she has hips, child.
She was too lazy to actually figure out none of this is new. And yet she called a meeting with the influencers that included Kash Patel, the head of the FBI, and the sitting vice president.
Oh,
so she's either
that person was an influencer,
lazy and incompetent, or she willingly humiliated some of the president's most loyal supporters.
Now, Megyn Kelly's being careful not to go after Trump yet, but Pam Bondi is Trump's pick, and she is going scorched earth on Pam Bondi. We then go to Patrick Bet-David. Remember, these are all serious Trump supporters. Megyn Kelly showed up, and I think she even spoke at a Trump rally. Maybe she just went
And here is Jesse Waters, this piece of shit bastard that is an annoyance to the world, to the point where his own mother doesn't like him. And I'm guessing his mother would like to have swallowed Jesse Waters. So sorry to Jesse Waters' mom and dad. Okay, here we go.
and hug Trump. But I think she spoke. Patrick Bet-David, overt supporter of Trump. He says this is the worst thing that's gone on so far.
You talking about Epstein? Yeah. I think good to be back on with you, buddy. But this is what I will tell you. The #1 trending hashtag right now on X is Epstein. 2 million people have tweeted with the topic of Epstein. Number 2 is Nicki Minaj at 100,000. Comey's at 42,500. There is a reason why people are asking about this. This is by far, and I'm a supporter. 3 times I voted for this man. This is by far the biggest fumble of the administration they've had thus far. And here's the reason why. If you remember the president winning, he had a conversation with Fox News, the great Rachel Campos Duffy, and she asked, Mr. President, 9/11, yes. John F. Kennedy, yes. Epstein, he didn't say yes. He was a little bit hesitant of bringing that information out. Why?
Right.
So why does his leadership team go out there and like, we have this information and we're going to release this and Cash? And let me tell you what we have with Pam Bondi out of state of Florida. She knew everything about Bondi, about Epstein. Why are you fumbling this? Why are you not having an emergency meeting together to conversate and say, hey, we're going to be on the same page with messaging on this?
All right. So Patrick Bet-David.
So want to bring up something from Jesse Waters. So right here, Jesse Waters admits mistake in program, right? Yeah, I know. Fox News, Jesse Waters admits he erred in saying that Newsom lied about 47 phone call, but governor isn't dropping the lawsuit. So Jesse Waters admitted to lying by defaming, okay? Jesse Waters defaming California Governor by calling the Democrat a liar about the timing of a phone call with President 47 regarding the LA protests over ICE raids, right? And 47's deployment of troops to quell the disturbance. Waters acknowledged that Newsom wasn't lying, didn't deceive anybody on purpose. I'm so sorry. But Waters also said the governor was just confused and unclear. Take him for everything he fucking got. It's about time he got handled. Okay. Disrespectfully. Here's the
thinks it's no good. We then go to Tim Pool, another overt Trump supporter, voted for Trump. Tim Pool says Pam Bondi's obviously lying.
The DOJ has released a 2-page memo stating that there is no Epstein client list and nothing uncovered would predicate criminal charges against any third parties. That is, my friend, you were all wrong. The conspiracy theories were all wrong. Jeffrey Epstein was simply a financier with a lot of rich friends who got arrested for trafficking and then killed himself. And there was no evidence about anything else. And he did everything by hand personally. Let me just cut through the BS. I am going to break this down. It's an obvious lie. I'm going to tell you why I think they're lying, and I think it's pretty obvious. But this is probably the most obvious lie of any lie ever told. And one need only logic and facts to break this down.
There you go. That's Tim Pool.
So we already heard from Benny Johnson and Alex Jones. So we're going to move on here because I want to get this show clipped, okay? So here we go.
Here. Hey, if you are a coach, speaker, consultant, podcaster, if you want to know how
to... Jeffrey Epstein's ex, Stacey Williams, has accused Donald Trump of groping her and is making very specific statements about the close relationship between Trump and the now deceased Epstein. Why do we care about this? Because much like with Trump's health, they're also not being transparent about Donald Trump's relationship to Jeffrey Epstein. Trump says he is now suing the Wall Street Journal over what he says is a fabricated story, that he sent Jeffrey Epstein a card where he also made a drawing. Here is Stacey Williams saying that she was groped. Take a listen to this.
I'm considered number 27. I'm Donald Trump's 27th sexual assault victim. When I was doing Sports Illustrated, that's when he assaulted me. Jeffrey Epstein walked me into his office to be sexually assaulted by him.
That is Stacey Williams. And Stacey Williams was on CNN with Breonna Keeler this weekend explaining that Trump and Epstein were bros, they were wingmen, they were very close. And of course, we are to believe that they had no relationship, that Trump, I guess, maybe met him in the 90s in that party where the couple of times they were on video were the only times we are to believe that they met. Okay, listen to this.
And how did Epstein talk about Trump? Sort of what was the quality of those anecdotes and how he described him?
There was a time when he mentioned that he had to check in on him because he was unwell and very upset about something that had happened. I remember because he was late to pick me up and he was explaining why he was late. They were just, it was such a long time ago, but it was just that was his bro, that was his wingman. It was clearly, I'd hear about Ghislaine and I'd hear about Jeffrey. And I met Ghislaine in his house. She would come wafting in and out, the home in New York. So he was clearly just someone that he talked about all the time. And again, I met Jeffrey the second time and we started dating based on, the reintroduction that happened at the Plaza Hotel at a Christmas party in 1992 that Donald Trump threw. And they were very, very close.
So listen, does it matter how close they were in terms of determining whether Donald Trump was a client in the criminal sense of Jeffrey Epstein? No, in a sense, it really doesn't. Trump may have been close with Epstein, but for all sorts of different reasons, including just that Trump thought, for example, it's too much risk for me to be a client of this guy. I like him. We, like to evaluate young women together and the whole thing, but I'm not going to be a client of this guy. That's possible. But we can't even honestly get to that question in a way that feels like we're going to get real answers when they aren't even upfront about the nature of the Epstein-Trump relationship.
Factual, David Pakman. One more video here, y'all. We did, everybody. So here we go with this. Trigger warning, by the way. Shout out to Hunter Biden, who said that the president is a convicted bastard. I'm paraphrasing, but Hunter Biden has every right to feel how he feels. You can't cause destruction and then ask for construction. So watch the show.
Segment that went up today.
a former casino president of Donald Trump's Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City in the 1980s, went on CNN this week and announced that at one point he had to actually scold Donald Trump because he walked into that casino at 1:30 in the morning, according to Jack O'Donnell, who is the former president, with Jeffrey Epstein and a 19-year-old girl, and took them all over the casino floor, which anybody who's been in a casino knows you cannot take anyone under the age of 21 onto the casino floor.
Pause for a second. Let's go back to this. 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 Oh, my Lord Jesus, man. Man, oh, man, oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Right here. We always used to go to Atlantic City to try to find girls in the casino. He said if there was a guy, I would say, I'm here to invite the guy to go out to dinner. And he said to the woman, let me show you the casino. As he walked out, he put his arm around the girl's shoulder. The bodyguard would walk up to Don and whoosh, take the girl away. Back to fair and balanced with this story. Roll it.
If they step off of those walkways, onto the carpeted areas or whatever the rule is for that particular casino, it's not only bad for you who does it, but the casino itself can get into a lot of legal trouble, which is why Mr. O'Donnell says he had to go and scold Donald Trump. Here's what he said. He frequently came down to Atlantic City, the two of them, him and Epstein, to attend special events. In my mind, it was his best friend, from really the time I was there for 4 years. So that's not even the heart of it, but this is a guy who worked for Donald Trump, was the president of his casino, knew every time Trump came, knew who Trump came with, and he said him and Epstein were there all the time together. They were best friends. Now this, of course, as Aaron Burnett on CNN pointed out, this contradicts Donald Trump's claim that, well, I knew Epstein like everybody else in Palm Beach knew him, and I wasn't a fan of the guy. Yeah. In fact, Burnett played the clip of Donald Trump literally saying that. And then O'Donnell responded by saying this. One incident that I think kind of proves their closeness and how much they hung out together. One time, a Monday morning, I came in and the commission was waiting. The inspectors were waiting in my office, and Donald and Jeffrey had come into the casino in the wee hours of Sunday morning, 1:30 in the morning, two buddies. They had 3 women with them, and the commission was waiting for me because they had determined that the women that they had brought down were underage to be in the casino. And when I asked them how they knew that, by the way, one of them was the number 3 ranked tennis player in the world. Okay. And this guy happened to be a tennis fan. And he said, Jack, I know she's 19 years old. To get on a helicopter with a...
What? Jack, I know she's 19 years old. That's what the president of the United States said. Jack, I know that she's 19 years old. Jack, I know that she's 19 years old.
A friend and 3 other people and fly down to Atlantic City. I mean, you can connect those dots. They were pretty good buddies. O'Donnell said the commission decided to give Trump a break. They didn't want to fine him, but they told him, you got to tell him he can't do this. So O'Donnell continued. He said, they made me call him, and I had to, believe it or not, read him the riot act about this action because they gave him a break. I had to call him and say, look, they've given you a break this time, but if this happens again, the fine is going to be substantial and it's going to be on your head. And oh, by the way, it's not going to look good, you and this guy Epstein coming down here with these young women. And I did tell him in that conversation, I don't think you should be hanging out with this guy, just so you know, and you certainly shouldn't be doing that in Atlantic City.
Ladies and gentlemen, everything that you've heard tonight is allegedly, in my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. I'm going to turn off my camera now because we've done the whole show for over an hour. Yes, we have. Y'all, that's it. That's all I wanted to do. Thank you all so much for being here. With that being said, it is time for the best outro on YouTube. to know what you do and do what you know. Never say you want more special, because you were always born a blessing. Trust you may not be where you want to be, but by the end of it, you'll be where you need to be. Do what you've been chosen to do. Why it's one thing to call yourself, it's another to be chosen. One love, much love, all love. I spend time with you. You spend time with me. Hopefully, by spending time together, we'll be great together. And always remember, we're doing radio, television, YouTube, living your best life, or just utilizing public information to say the quiet part out loud and using it to say it out loud, not to disrupt the noise, but to fuck up the noise to make a sound that needs to be heard. Make sure the replay is not just review. Watch it, not just review. Listen to it, but for more experience, again, I love you, I value, embrace you all. Always remember, see love, you gotta give it, or see love, you gotta give it, or see love, you gotta give it. Where obstacles you have overcome, where success you have achieved. Upon this particular day, I'm extremely proud of you, but no one's proud of you. Be proud of you, damn. So finally, y'all, listen. He already has a disease. Sometimes diseases are not just physical, they're mental. Take that for what you will. Commercial break and fireworks coming your way for the day that was, for the day that's come, for the blessings that are on the way for you, me, all of us. It's a society, as a people, as a culture. I feel love. Send it right back to you. Good night, everybody. I love you all. Bye.
I thought I should tell you, they've been talking about you. Yeah, they've been talking about you. They've been talking about the fact that they've done everything they could to stop you and everything they could to block you, but you still win. They've been talking about the fact that they have undermined your success and they have tried to sabotage your seasons, but you keep winning. They've been talking about the fact that even though they don't like each other, they get together to try to kill you, but you keep winning. They've been talking about the fact that you were voted least likely to succeed, but like cream, you keep rising to the top. They've been talking about how they tried to burn your world down, but like the phoenix, you rose from the ashes. They've been talking about you. And you know what they say? Oh, she's just lucky. He's just lucky. But no, you ain't lucky. You're anointed. You got something on you. You got favor on you. You got power on you. You were born to win. Now they can call it luck, but it's grace. They can call it luck, but it's favor. But whatever they call it, it doesn't matter, because you know what God calls you? Do you know what God calls you? A winner.
Prepare for a journey beyond imagination, beyond belief, beyond anything you've experienced before. Universal Epic Universe, a new theme park where you'll step through extraordinary portals to 5 immersive worlds. Prepare for a cosmic voyage of discovery, an isle of fire-breathing excitement, a shadowy world of monsters and mystery, new wonders in the wizarding world, and a new way to play. Plus the splendor of a magnificent resort hotel overlooking the park. It's all new excitement at Universal Orlando Resort. A week's worth of vacation thrills with 4 amazing theme parks, a variety of spectacular themed hotels, and incredible dining and entertainment. It's all at Universal Orlando Resort, where you'll find new adventures every day. Explore the astonishing worlds of Universal Epic Universe at Universal Orlando Resort.
Because here's the thing, a good streamer can find other content. Because